Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there in Heat Nation, and appreciate you guys checking it out. I was boots on the ground today. I was at Heat practice. I've been off the air for the radio show this week. I'll be back on Friday. I was going to be back on Thursday, so this was going to be my last day off, but I didn't know that we had the Canes game on Thursday. So technically, I had a free off day anyway. So Leroy and I'll be back on Friday for a 2-hour show because they have another bowl game that they want to air. So if anybody's looking for us, we'll be back Friday. Get you ready for all the weekend action ahead. Miami Heat are heading off to the West Coast. Big road trip coming on up. They got the Golden State Warriors coming up tomorrow night or on Thursday night, whenever you guys are watching this. And 10 o'clock tip-off. And this should be an interesting one because Golden State has had an interesting year in that they're, of course, dealing with the Draymond Green drama of him being suspended, basically, because he can't control himself of hitting people or throwing people down or doing whatever. They're 500 on the year. They have not lit it up so far this season. But I was curious what Erik Spoelstra thought about this because he's been in positions where he's been part of, been around elite guys, elite runs maybe coming to an end. What does he feel about that? And he doesn't feel like the Warriors' time is up. He does feel like really there's not a lot of teams that have gotten a lot of consistency going this year.
Well, their style of play still is there. It's evident. I think the whole league is trying to figure this out right now, and that's why you just can't pay attention, to what everybody's saying on the outside. It's not like there are a bunch of teams that have been playing consistent basketball. There are a handful, and then basically everybody else is trying to figure it out. And Golden State, like us, has had some really good moments where they've looked like every bit of who they've been, and they've had some moments where they're trying to figure it out. We feel like we're in a similar area. They still play an incredibly unique style with Curry and Thompson and all the movement that they have. It's different than your typical spread pick and roll basketball, so you have to be totally locked in and focused, and then that's just a great environment to play there. I think it's a good way to kick off this road trip because you're going to have to play good consistent basketball all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, look, Golden State loses on they lose on Christmas, and obviously you had Steve Kerr lose his mind over the Joker getting his free throws and getting a little nutty there, but they won. They were on a 5-game win streak, I believe, going into that Christmas Day game. They had beaten Boston, so they had gotten some good things going for themselves. Klay Thompson has been playing a lot better after a lot of people calling him washed. Shout out to Frog Boy earlier on in the year, and of course Steph Curry. So they're still a team I think that has to be respected. You can't just be going in here against them and being like, oh, they're 500. You should absolutely steamroll this team. No, I think that Miami has got a tough challenge ahead, and they do have to give everything they got to go get this one. Certainly without Draymond, like you lose that defensive intensity that he brings and all the other stuff that he can bring to the table as well. But you still got two of the more dangerous shooters. It will be actually kind of fun to see because Miami has been shooting the lights out and has, I think, the best 3-point percentage in the league so far this year. But it will be fun to see like how this shootout gets going between. It's going to be fun to see what the challenge is with taking on with taking on Steph Curry as well. Tyler Herro talked about this a little bit today. I asked him at practice about the challenge of facing Steph. Here's what he had to say on that.
Yes, so he's a great player. Obviously, one of the best shooters of all time, if not the best. So, he presents a lot of problems and things to work through and negotiate on our defensive end and trying to stop him and our offense. So, we worked a little bit through it today, and we'll revisit it tomorrow morning and shoot around and try to prepare for him.
It was an interesting practice because normally there's a lot more action, I would say. Get to Heat practice today. Jimmy limited in practice. J. Rich limited in practice. Caleb, I don't believe, participated in practice. But he did speak to the media afterwards a little bit about that and where his ankle's at. And that sounds like something they're going to be a little bit touch and go with, a little bit cautious with for tomorrow's game. I should probably look. What is the injury report for tomorrow. I believe Jimmy's questionable for tomorrow. I believe that was the official word on him. Caleb and J-Rich are doubtful. J-Rich and Jimmy is questionable, along with Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson. But and Haywood Highsmith was a full participant, so it sounds like he's good to go. Everybody is expected to go to the West Coast, according to Anthony Chang's Twitter. But it is going to be it is an interesting one as far as this is concerned. So usually you get to some actions going on at practice, and I get there today, it's a little bit quiet. So, Jimmy's gone, Kyle's gone, Duncan was shooting at the other end. You had the full contingency at the table. Oh, I didn't see Zoe. Today was Andy Ellisberg at the table with Mickey, Nick, Pat Riley, Spo, of course, doing some side chat. By the way, speaking of coaches, should give a shout out to the real one, Ron Rothstein, the GOAT. Happy birthday to Ron Rothstein. I love Ron Rothstein, dude. That guy is not only do I think he does an amazing job on the broadcast. Stop the tape. And I love listening to him explain basketball, but I also love when Ron just talks about the competitiveness of a team. And I think especially when the Heat don't exactly have a great performance, I think he's just got such a great touch for articulating it. He's just, he's awesome, man. I can't speak highly enough about Ron Rothstein. So I really hope he had the happiest of birthdays here today. But that's the contingency was there. The Harrisons, Mickey, Nick, Pat, Spo, Andy Ellisberg. So they were there. Tyler was shooting a little bit. Thomas Bryant was shooting a bunch of threes. Didn't even see the young guys doing like usually that 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. They didn't have that going on. But everybody's gone, basically. They start doing interviews, right? And Kevin Love was doing interviews. He did like a couple of one-on-ones with some of the writers, and then puts his hoodie back on and then goes back to shoot by himself. Okay? But like every now and then during the interviews, during Caleb, during Spo, Tyler, and Bam, just every once in a while, you're just hearing just F-bombs, just like loud. And I'm just thinking to myself, and I'm thinking, I got to make note of that because I'm going to send these cuts into the radio, for the radio broadcast and all that. I'm going to send these, put these on social media. And, some people don't like the potty mouth stuff. We'll get a little loose here on the channel every now and then. But Kevin Love's just like, stop being so effing cute. I'm just like, what? And you can just see Tyler's just like looking at him. He's just like laughing his ass off because we can't see him. We're facing Tyler. I can't see what's going on behind me, but all I just keep hearing is mother F-bombs just left and right. Kevin Love is just losing his mind.
100%. But also it gives us. Wow. Hope y'all bleep that out. That's K-Love. But
be ready, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And we got a bunch of guys that work hard like him.
And did you know Kevin was going to be such a bad influence on you?
Yeah, we've been trying to control him. He's quite the character sometimes, so we gotta control him.
It was a delight. It was just a lot of fun today at practice. So anyway, very excited about this upcoming trip. You got the Golden State matchup, always fun. The LA games, and then Phoenix, who obviously has a lot of drama, it seems like, surrounding them right now. But, look, all these teams have superstar players. All of them, I think, will be exciting matchups should everybody be healthy. So I'm excited to see what they what these matchups can bring. Now, to get to the other story of the day in Heat Nation, if you haven't heard yet, Udonis Haslem has launched a podcast with his former teammate Mike Miller. The OGs, they call it. And the first guest episode came out. I think they've done one episode. Today was episode 2. And the guest was Bam Adebayo. I was very excited about this episode for a couple of reasons. One, love Bam, love UD. They are very close. Feels like this is going to be great for both of them, right? And it's a great podcast. They got a lot of great stories that they told. They told a couple of stories that were fantastic. One of them being James Johnson whooping up on a Heat player who called him the B word. And if you don't know James Johnson, he's not one to be messed with because he is a martial artist, grew up in a family of martial artists. He is a real one, and you shouldn't mess with him. Somebody did. Apparently, JJ whooped this guy's ass. I believe Bam said it was during his rookie year. So go look at that season and see if you can narrow it down. UD also, by the way, saying that he whooped on somebody. They would not name the players. So you're going to have to, I guess, use your own imagination on who you think they would be. But great stories. But this wasn't the thing that got the biggest reaction out of anybody, okay? The biggest reaction happened with a great story that Bam was telling about Udonis Haslem, okay? And here's the clip. If you haven't heard the original clip, this is courtesy of the OGs. And Udonis Haslem, apparently, he hates the Celtics, okay? This is known. He hates the Celtics guts. And Bam went on to tell a story about Udonis Haslem in the moment being so mad at the Celtics that he said F Bill Russell. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, Bill Russell, of course, the great champion with the Celtics. When he passed away, every team honored him. They were wearing 6 on the jerseys. They had 6 on the court in the Heat. They actually went the extra mile, and they put 6 up in the rafters. Now, I'm going to just play the clip first, and then we'll get into a little bit of a breakdown of why the Sully and Murphs are losing their mind. But here you go. This was on the OGs.
We playing Boston, so you know his feel on that. Yeah. So, dog, we in the huddle, and Cap come in there, he give his pregame speech, and they retire like Bill Russell's jersey for everybody in the league. So they got 6 in our Raptors. Hey, he in his pregame speech like,
tell me when you gonna see a Miami Heat jersey hang in a Boston.
Bill Russell too. I said, bro, this man dead. OG.
I had to repent that. I love Bill. No
Bill
disrespect to Bill. I love Bill. He just caught that straight.
Man,
no
that shit,
I love Bill. And
man caught it straight and he's 6 feet under, man.
But will you ever see a Miami Heat jersey hanging in Boston Raptors?
Never. Man,
respect to Bill Russell. I love it. Why the fuck he got to hang in here? That come out them people mouth to us when we playing there?
Man, listen.
I might not take back what I said. Now that I think about it, the way the shit that they say to us,
Bill had to go through it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
It's a great story. And then look, not surprising. Udonis Haslem hates the Celtics guts. And for him to come out there and be like, F Bill Russell, why is his jersey up in the rafters? It's hilarious. It's a funny story because he's not really saying F Bill Russell, but he's just saying it's just like it's just F Boston. That's the Heat. That's the hate. This is a guy, and Udonis Haslem, he's had what? 7 series against the Boston Celtics in his career, 7 over eras, the big 3 and now the Tatum and Brown era. Like, yeah, there's going to be some animosity that's built up there. He hasn't hid from that. And he's very obviously not saying that at the person. The Sully and Murphs were losing. Oh my God. How could you say that about the great Bill Russell? How could you say it? How could you say Bill Russell? How could you say it? Udonis Haslem, you bench warmer. Where have you been your entire career? And I was just like, oh my God. So people were genuinely getting mad about this on social media, saying, oh my God, Bill Russell's a civil rights activist, which, by the way, as an aside, let's not act like Boston doesn't have their own unhealthy history with Bill Russell as well. O'Keefe and O'Malley. Just saying. Before you're getting mad at Udonis Haslem for a story from a pregame rant. Which, by the way, first of all, Udonis is right. It is very weird that there is it's not even a jersey anymore. I don't think Pat Riley could stomach actually putting a Celtics jersey up in the rafters. He actually had a Michael Jordan jersey. It's the worst move of Pat Riley's career. But the thing that's funny about it is, why wouldn't you say anything about Michael Jordan? He didn't play against Michael Jordan. He's played a lot against Boston. And I got to tell you, sure, Udonis Haslem isn't thrilled about the Michael Jordan jersey being up there either. I'm sure there's probably been a time where he's probably said FMJ. If you probably had to pry all of Udonis Haslem's teammates in a series against the Bulls, you're telling me he's never said that? You don't think there's ever been a time in Udonis Haslem's life where he said Michael Jordan Why is his jersey up in the rafters? Bet you that he probably has. We just don't have that story yet. But the O'Malley's and the O'Keefes and obviously you had the Ring parade that's got all mad about it, and the Boston sports media mafia, as if they're not disgruntled against Miami enough. You give them another reason where they're going to be like all up in their feelings about it. What Chris Mannix was, I think, the one I saw today where he's like, this is so bad on so many levels. It's like a crazy thing to me where he's going to go out here. He said, this is wild for many reasons, not which of these. Miami has retired the number of a player, Michael Jordan, whose only connection to the franchise was busting the Heat up. It's like, yeah. Which, by the way, the Heat also then have spent all of Michael Jordan's ownership busting his franchise up. Just, for what goes around comes around. Like the Hornets, Bobcats have done absolute squadouche in Michael Jordan's entire 10 years owner, which it does not exist anymore. He has cashed out, which good for MJ. But I'm just like, hold on, man. So I'm seeing this and I'm going into practice. And I'm like, I didn't know Bam was going to talk, but he did. And so obviously have to ask him about this. And, he's like, I had to tell the story because how can you not tell that story on Udonis Haslem's podcast?
How surprised are you? Your podcast episode with Udonis Haslem angered all of Boston.
God, no, listen, I knew it was going to happen, but I had to share that story just because we know how passionate UD is. All of us who've been around him, who, you really talk to UD. He's really passionate about us. He's really passionate about the Heat. He's passionate about, who talks about us, how they talk about us. He's one of those guys that we don't listen to the noise, but he'll articulate it to us in his own way. So you know how that goes. But, it's one of those things where we knew that it was going to be upset. But I felt like it was a great story to share just because, it was just him at his utmost, like, motivating but / like just him being himself and just explaining it. But, we have we all respect Bill Russell for what he's done for us as players, and as, black people and the stuff he had to go through. So, just to clear that air before people started talking about that, we all know we respect that man.
Well, the damage was kind of done on that already because Jaylen Brown, of course, he had liked a tweet from somebody that I got tagged on a lot that said MJ ain't played a single game for the Heat, and they put his jersey and they retired his jersey. Not a single peep about it from UD, but a civil rights activist who passed away. You're mad about LMAO. First of all, once again, I'd like to make 2 points about this. One, we don't know that that Udonis Haslem has never said bleep Michael Jordan. We don't know that that's the case. If I had to guess, probably in his history, he probably has. Second of all, it's not him saying that at the guy, the man. He's saying it as a symbol of the Celtics. And he's right that the Heat would never have a jersey or probably have anybody honored up in the rafters in Boston. It would never happen. It would never happen. Pat Riley's classy. I don't like the fact that he retired Michael Jordan's jersey. Not the same thing that we're talking about here. And they're not retired for the same reasons either. And by the way, as far as the Heat's concerned, if you can't link why Udonis Haslem says that in a rant in a series or a game against the Celtics, who he has a very long history with, that has been documented, it has been verbal, it has been heated. These have been hotly contested series, and especially over the last 4 years. If you can't see the difference between that and him saying in a rant to fire his guys up, F that dude too, and him actually disparaging the man and the character of Bill Russell, I don't have any time for you. You're a dummy. Like, you just are stupid. It's crazy to me that this is the place that we're at anymore. And I knew as soon as, I asked Bam about this, people are going to say you were gassing it up. It's like, yeah, because it's ridiculous. And I'm going to laugh at the hysteria of Boston fans. And of course, my video gets picked up by NBA Central, which their mentions are the depths of hell. I have to mute it immediately because it melts my phone of like, just Jesus, like the things that I have to read from that hellhole that is their Twitter followers was insane. But the people who were out here like, we're going to bust you. We're going to beat you by 40 next time. Dude, I would say you guys should have enough motivation to begin with, especially you, Jaylen Brown. Team figured you out in the scouting report like that. So I just found all this hilarious. And you know that all of the Bostonians are going to be in their feelings about it. But I mean, I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about you're right with Udonis Haslem. Udonis Haslem being so intense, he'd say F Bill Russell. But as an aside, they did like when they put the Bill Russell jersey up there. It's just a number 6 up there, and they changed. It used to be a Bulls jersey, a Dolphins Dan Marino jersey, which is honored, not retired, number 13. Many players have won 13. You know, Bam, McMiller, Shabazz Napier wore number 13, and they haven't given out number 6 since LeBron left, which I imagine LeBron's going to have his number 6 retired too. But another story for another day. People are like, I swear, people get riled up over the dumbest things, especially you, Chris Mannix. That's this. Oh, this is wrong on so many levels, and especially they have Michael Jordan. It's like it's not the argument. Like, you know, like you want to say the Heat having Michael Jordan's jersey up in the rafters is dumb. Agreed. But if you don't think that Udonis Haslem has probably pulled the F Michael Jordan card either, you're probably crazy. He probably has against the series against probably Jimmy Butler. So I don't know, man. I just found all this stuff, the hilarity in the Chowda Heads' reaction to all this was crazy to me, and I enjoyed laughing at it very much.